Good evening, everyone. It is 5:30 now. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. We do have both trustees Patty and Sandra missing, but we do have a quorum. Welcome. This meeting is being webcast live and recorded. The recording and webcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meetings. Could I please have everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Do I have a motion to adopt the board meeting's agenda for today? I have a motion to adopt. Okay, roll call. Sammy? Aye. Valerie? Aye. And I. Presentations, math core group presentation, Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent Vargas, and math team. Welcome.
Yes, good evening, Board President Cisneros, members of the board. Just want to welcome our team as they're coming up. So you guys come up here. Yeah. So I'm just going to open it up. They're going to be the ones who are leading this work. And so first off, I want to just say that we've been doing this work for a year. We wanted to bring it to the board so you understand like what's been going on with P3, CCC, and some of the updates I've given you, or the core math adoption work. And so this is our core math adoption work group, and they've been working hard, and they're going to share their experience with you tonight. Dr. Vargas is going to give the experience from the P3 CCC group, who we just met with the last 2 hours online with all the different districts there. And so it's a lot of great work happening, but we always want to bring the teacher voice into it and our site leaders so you can kind of see where we're going as far as collaboration is concerned. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started, and we can switch to the next slide. And we have, we're ready to go?
Yeah. So just to ground this work, we're really focused around the board priority 2, which is around the high expectations for quality instruction. And so we're really been thinking about what does that look like in math. Next slide. So we know throughout kind of the historical context of the district, there have been some really amazing pockets of excellence. There have been some amazing practices happening, preschool through 12th grade. So we want to build off of that work, right? And we've seen this graphic before, all of the arrows in a different direction to all of the arrows going in the same direction. So we really want to think about what are those best practices that we've seen in these different areas, and think about how we can scale that across the district as it relates to math. And we know that's a need because, as you can see, our outcomes in math as a district have not really demonstrated what our students are capable of. Next slide. So this is the slide about the why. Why is this work important now? So a couple of contextual things for you all. The state did just adopt a new California math framework, and that's kind of a guiding document from the Department of Education that tells us how we should be thinking about what math instruction looks like in our classrooms. And so they made a lot of updates to thinking about how our students are more deeply engaging with math. So it's not just the ability to follow an equation and get a correct answer, but there's a lot more modeling, there's a lot more big ideas, there's a lot more connecting to real world context. And so that does mean that we should be thinking about how we're shifting instruction in the classroom to follow that guidance. The second piece is definitely our outcomes. You saw that on the previous slide, right? And we know from kind of informal conversations with our students that math isn't always their favorite subject. And we want to change that. We want kids to be really excited and engaged with math. And so part of that is making them really active participants in their math class. And then, of course, the last piece, again, is that grounding focus and board priority 2, and really making sure that every child in Corcoran has access to an excellent schooling experience, especially in math. Next slide. So we shared a lot of the why today. No, I'm handing it over to you. That was the why. We're going to share the what and the how. And so to kick that off, we have 2 of our amazing teachers who will introduce themselves and share some of their experiences in this work so far.
Hi.
I really don't think that, I'm sorry, I'm loud enough anyway. So I'm Judy Fierro and I teach third grade at John C. Fremont. And I want to talk about our. The past, when we look at that, how adoptions used to be, originally it was each site would decide what they wanted their curriculum to be. So Q1 had a different curriculum, R2-3, R4-5, we all had different curriculums. Then they're like, let's get together and try to unify, which sounded great in theory, but when we had literally no voice and no choice, we would have data to show, but it didn't matter. Principal would make the choice for us, and it wouldn't usually be like the younger grades would have a voice. It would be like the older sites that had the older students. They're the ones who would get to choose, oh, this is what we're deciding for the whole district. And it just, nobody felt like they had any voice in it, any choices. We were just giving it here, this is what you're teaching. And we would make it work, but it's very different. Which leads me to.
I'm Shanae Garcia. I am a fourth grade teacher at Mark Twain, and I'm going to talk about what we're doing presently. So what we're doing differently this time around is the decisions are being made as a team focused on the end users, so the teachers and the students. We are also using data, a lot of data, to drive our decisions as to what exactly a curriculum needs to have now and what research and best practices are for math going forward. Also, the ownership is going to be completely shared across the roles of the different teams that we do have, so that teachers do feel like they have a voice now in what we are going to be teaching.
Great, so they're forecasting a little bit about the math adoption process, but we did want to clarify that there are two work streams happening this year as it relates to math. The P3CC, and for the life of me, I can't remember what that stands for right now. But it's really focused on our earliest group of learners. And so that's focusing on creating coherence in the instructional practices, the progress monitoring, all of those things for our pre-K to third grade students. And so we've been really doing a lot of shared learning experiences this year that's focused around the mathematical practices, which you'll find in the California framework, to help us think about how we're shifting some of our practices to better align to those ideas. And this is a representative group. It includes district representatives. It has our two principals. We have some instructional coaches, and we have teachers across elementary sites. And we've even added our friends from the core program as well. When they're able, they join us as well for some of that shared learning experience. The second work stream is this group here. They've been working on specifically the math adoption, but we know that this work is going to overlap with a lot of what we've been talking about in pre-K 3. And so we wanted to make sure that we had opportunities for both teams to collaborate, even though one's maybe focused on early elementary and one's focused on math adoption. It's really about living out that vision as a district of what math looks like for all of us in corporate.
I don't know how to keep my voice for this. But hello, I'm Stephanie Gomez. I am a math teacher at the high school. So as Dr. Vargas mentioned, there are two teams engaged in this work. The CMCIN team created a vision for math instruction, and then it was later enhanced with the help of the P3CC team. The original vision stated that at Corcoran Joint Unified School District, students are actively engaged and persevered through rigorous math tasks using effective tools and strategies that foster collaboration and mathematical discourse in a student-centered, teacher-facilitated environment.
Hello, I'm Bryson Arnold. I'm a math teacher at John Muir Middle School. We combined the mission and vision statement at Corcoran Joint Unified School District. We believe all students will graduate as empowered, confident, and perseverant mathematical thinkers and problem solvers as a result of having equitable access to student-centered, joyous learning through partnership with our community.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that having a clear math vision is important because it creates consistency and direction across the district. It'll help ensure that the decisions we make are aligned with the math we want students to experience in a day-to-day basis in their math classes.
Yeah, so the vision that you just heard is the what. We saw the why and the what, and so now we're going to talk a little bit about the how. First, I'm going to share a little bit about the work that the P3CC team has done this year to really live out this vision. P3CC is a 3-year partnership, so we're just 1/3 of the way in, and we have a lot more work to continue doing. So as they just shared, the two teams came together, we came up with this vision statement, and the way that that's been interpreted with our P3CC team is through two structures. Can you click for me, please, James? Through our PLCs, which are our professional learning communities, where our teachers meet every Wednesday to collaborate and plan and talk about student learning. We've leveraged this structure to provide some professional learning for all of our elementary. So we did some work around understanding the standards and how they progress from pre-K all the way up to 5th grade. And we started to introduce this idea of open tasks, which is a different way of having kids collaborate and think about their learning. If you're ever around, we would love to show you some counting collections. It's pretty cool to see like our TKers like make sense of really complicated problems because they are starting to be kind of trained in this language and this thinking about their thinking.
And preschool.
And preschool. The other place that we've seen this really take off is in the classroom. So all of the teachers who are participants in this program, they've been actively trying these different learnings that they've been encountering. So regularly, they are doing counting collections and more problem-solving opportunities and getting kids in general to talk about math instruction. And they've gotten so excited about it that they couldn't contain it to their classrooms. So they are already spreading it across the campuses. So we spread it to Mark Twain, we spread it throughout Fremont, we spread it throughout Bret Harte. So really at this point, I would say probably 75% of our classrooms have had access to this learning, even though originally the intent was only like the people in the program, which was, like our 6 teachers. So that's pretty exciting. Next slide. So our last meeting, we took some time to think about what has been the impact, even this early on, that this kind of learning has done for our system, both for our students and for our educators. And these are the 5 big themes that emerged. We are already starting to see students have a shift towards agency and autonomy, being able to choose the ways in which they solve problems. For our educators, it's really been a great push and a lot of risk-taking and stepping outside of their comfort zone and trying new things and seeing the positive results that come from that. We've also seen a very measurable impact on engagement and achievement. We've seen some early results that are showing our benchmarks in math are increasing, the number of students who are proficient. But more importantly, we see kids who are really excited about math. They clap when it's time to do math at some of our classrooms at Bret Harte because the learning is so much more fun. They get to use manipulatives and they get to talk to their friends about math. And lastly, I think this just points to the work of the 2 groups is this idea around systems coherence, right? We are a unified school district, and so we are truly having conversations that are pre-K-12 to really think about how these kids are going to continue to grow with us within the district. So lastly, on the next slide, is just talking about where this work is going for next year, and it leads really nicely into the adoption work. We're going to be focusing on assessments for learning and thinking about how we can create assessments in our system that allow students to show their thinking. A big piece, as I mentioned, is teaching our teachers to be critical consumers of curriculum. We want them to have the tools that when the math team hands them a couple of different examples of possible curriculums, that they have the tools to interact and say, hey, this is a great one, it's really aligned to our standards, or maybe this one is not completely aligned. So we want to build the capacity of all of our teachers in the system so that, again, they can be informed participants in this process. You can keep clicking through. So these are just some of the things that we've already done. And lastly, one more click. Again, it's just summarizing where we want to go next year. And of course, it starts with the what, that math vision. That's our anchor. And all of the work that both teams are doing are going to be building off of that. So I will hand it back over to you guys to talk more about the adoption.
Hi, I'm Monica Bedoya. I'm one of the learning directors at the high school, former high school math teacher also. So Dr. Vargas did talk about the 2023 math framework, and specifically they have a chapter that talks about adopting high quality instructional materials. And really the framework is the what and why of modern math instruction, whereas the blueprint that you guys see is the how specifically for our district. So on the very bottom, the non-negotiables, those guarantee that every classroom has a rigorous standards aligned foundation. So every student is getting at level math instruction with the necessary interventions provided for students who are struggling in math instruction, plus extensions. So students get challenged to deepen their understanding as well. The middle part, the instructional design, will ensure that our math vision isn't just a poster on the wall, that it is lived in every classroom. And that's because the materials are going to provide the specific language routines necessary to support our students, ensuring high level math discourse is happening, regardless of the starting point for our students. And then lastly, the top, accessibility and integration. We want to make sure our materials have a seamless integration with our current system. So making sure that they can integrate with, for example, Clever or Google Classroom that we use to ensure that it saves instructional time and streamline the learning experience for teachers and students. And then based on our smarter balanced data, we were able to notice that we needed to support our multilingual learners and our students with disabilities. So we ensured that we want to ensure that the curriculum, the materials have embedded, not add-on supports for those group of students to guarantee that high quality math instruction is accessible to every student every day.
Hello, you might be seeing year zero at the beginning and wondering what that entails. The way I relate year zero is taking an AP class and how during the summer you had to do extra work or look into the prerequisites before going into the class. Year zero starts with that. So you're planning and working with a team, developing an understanding of the math framework, as well as what is high quality instructional math and how to adapt that. And then establish the district math and vision statement, as well as the parameters. So what are our students needing the most? And what do we think will be best for our students? And then create a collaborative adoption action plan, which goes into phase one, which is analyzing student data and then looking at high quality mathematical instruction, as well as the materials. So like as mentioned, so we're not just giving our teachers a set to figure out on their own, as well as coming up with a team for field testing the math.
All right, and then once we start to move into phase two in the next spring, teachers will begin to field test curriculum materials in the classroom. That way we can gain meaningful feedback on what best supports student learning and engagement. This will allow our decisions to be grounded in actual experiences and teacher input. Phase three is solely on the implementation. Once materials are selected, we will seek professional learning and ongoing support to ensure consistency and high quality math instruction across all grade levels.
So going back to the two teams that are in these decision-making processes. So we have an adoption team and we have a partnership team. So the adoption team is going to be not just us, but we are also going to bring in some more teachers from every grade level, including instructional coaches, SDC teachers, EL teachers, from kindergarten, pre-K, TK, all the way up to 12th grade. And then we are going to look at all of this data and we are going to narrow it down to 4 different curriculums. We are then going to present these curriculums to the teachers who will then narrow it down even further to 2 curriculums. We'll use all of this input from all stakeholders like the teachers and the students to then choose the brand new curriculum that we will have going forward. The partnership is the teachers and the site leaders and the admin who will help us narrow down those two choices, and we'll be the ones who will be field testing the curriculums and giving input using different survey type things.
And then we move to the decision-making process. First, it will be based off teacher input, surveys, and field testing data. And we will do a 50+1 vote, which is, there are actually 13 people that will be on our whole group. And so we would need a vote of 8. If we don't get that vote of 8, we're going to proceed to round 2, which that will mean we will take a closer look at reviewing the data. And we'll be doing like a fist of 5 to see, the importance of how issues fall or what we think different parts of the curriculum will fall within and how important that is to us, to the teachers, to the group, and we'll make that decision. We'll do another vote again and try to get a 50+1 vote. If that still doesn't pass, then it would go to round 3 and we would have our cabinet make the final decision.
So as Dr. Vargas said, our immediate next steps will be to roll out our unified math vision district-wide. We want to provide a district-wide PD on formative assessment, emphasizing open tasks to show student thinking and maintaining open two-way feedback channels. We really want to make sure that we focus on transparency throughout the whole math adoption process so that stakeholders can review materials, ask questions, and share feedback. Shanae actually was awesome, and she led creating our Math Adoption Hub. So it's an online platform on a Padlet. It has all different articles that we have read and used, any resources that we have, and then it has questions for each level. So second, third grade, they have a section where they can put questions, comments, or concerns, and there's one dedicated to every different site, so they can input that. And so sharing that with the district, all staff, so that they have a voice, and it is open throughout. Any questions or comments that you guys have? We are happy to answer.
Yeah, I just want to close it up by thanking our team here. They're an amazing group, as well as the other team, and some are here in the audience too, like Principal Reese and Dr. Cifuentes, and they're all working together. And so when you hear about us, the reason why we want to bring this is two reasons. One is so you can understand how the process was in the past, where when we've sat down and broken bread together at some of the trainings we're at, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, it was kind of just given to us. That's what was happened. And so now we're creating a process, not just for math adoption, but for any, where that becomes now the way of doing things. The second thing I do want to mention in the work today, the teachers were saying, very similar to what our team here is saying, is we want this to be uniform, and we want there to be accountability. And so remember, you guys have always asked for accountability. Well, they know that accountability is through clarity. We're clear about what it is, and then that they're mutually holding each other accountable. And then when there's supports that are put in place, right? So just like our students, right? Our students will get things wrong at times, but we provide the supports in place so we can make sure that it happens. And so that's what they've been building, those systems. So what you see in the work today is really the work of this group, as well as the other that have come together to build that. So I'm super proud of them. I know we're super proud of them as a group, and we look forward to this. Next year is going to be the year of the adoption process. And in late spring, this group, along with the others, will come back to you, and you'll know that all that has taken place, and that one material that they're bringing forward is because they've done all that work beforehand. So it's not just done by one person or a couple of people. Okay, so again, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Definitely thank you for all the work that you guys have been doing.
Before we go, I want to make sure to, there's a lot of information here, so I wish I knew more to be able to ask more questions, but it's preliminary, so I'm really happy to know that you got so much drive to work on something with such a big detail. So thank you so much for that, and I look forward to hearing more about that, and then also hearing more about what they're doing in the other other, science and English and everything else too. It's important that we know what's happening in the school, especially for someone that has kids in this district too. I want to be able to understand when they come home and they say, look at this new thing I'm doing. So thank you very much for that. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to middle and high school report. First, we have John Muir, Jaden.
Good evening, board members, district administrators, parents, and community members. My name is Jaden Valdez, and I'm this year's JMS ASB Vice President. Tonight, I'd like to share some great things that are happening on campus. To begin, the students at JMS have officially finished state testing in science, ELA, and math. The students are excited to receive their scores later this summer that will show how much they've grown in academics this year. Rixa Hodgson and the JMS Junior Lesbian Troops will be presenting their play Beauty and the Beast Bed and Breakfast on May 28th and 29th. We'll love for you to come and see one of their performances. Mr. Gina is preparing for the upcoming spring concert where a combination of the Mark Twain, JMS, and CHS bands will show off their stuff. This year's performance is on May 19th at the CHS Auditorium, and you're all invited to attend. The JMS track ended its season on a high note. The girls team took second place at the SAL Championships, and for the first time ever, the boys team won the SAL Championships by coming from behind in the last event of the meeting. And then to close out the season, 4 Wildcats won individual Valley Championships at the Lemoore High School. Next week on Thursday, May 21st, JMS will host its student showcase where current and future students and parents can come visit campus to see all of the great things going on in academics and co-curricular activities. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share just some of the wonderful things going on at our school. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason? It's just you today, right?
Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna be reading for 2 today, so please bear with me if there's a lot. Okay. Good evening, school board members, district cabinet, and my fellow community members. As we approach graduation season at Corcoran High School, our seniors participated in several memorable events today. This morning, the senior class gathered at the stadium at 8:30 to take their senior panoramic photo, making an exciting milestone as they prepare for our graduation. Earlier today, selected students were recognized during our senior award ceremony for their academic achievements and scholarship accomplishments. This year was a record-breaking year for scholarship awards with over $1 million donated to Corcoran High School. To be exact, our students earned an incredible $1,027,746 in scholarships. We are extremely proud of the hard work and dedication demonstrated by the class of 2026. In the afternoon, we also celebrated our 3rd annual college signing ceremony. This year, we had 27 participants, and each student was recognized for the university they will be attending this fall. It was a wonderful opportunity to celebrate our students' future plans and accomplishments. We would also like to share a few club and activity updates. FFA will be hosting their Farm Fair Day this Sunday at the Ag Farm, and our drama club had a very successful showing during their theater production last Friday. Our band program will be partnering with Mark Twain and John Muir for a musical spring concert taking place next week. Additionally, our Skills USA Club had 16 students compete at the state level competition, where 2 students earned a bronze medal, Kimberly Walker and Brooklyn Rogers. We would also like to recognize our classmate, Luz Garcia, for receiving Student Ambassador Scholarship from Valley ROP for Health Science. Our Health Occupations program has also partnered with a blood donor to host a mobile blood drive on May 26th from 3:30 to 6:30 in the TLC parking lot. Corcoran High School athletics continue to have a successful spring season. Our baseball team won the league championship with a 7-1 league record and is headed to the playoffs this Friday. Softball has also advanced to the playoffs and will compete on Friday after finishing the season with an impressive 16-9 record. Track and field athletics will compete in the divisional championships this Friday, with many CHS athletes qualifying to participate. Our swim team wrapped up its season last week, and we are proud to share that 5 swimmers qualified for the Valley Championships. Additionally, our stud team competed with their very first season with a victory against Riverdale, making an exciting accomplishment for the program. And this Saturday, our junior class will be hosting the Corcoran High School prom at the beautiful Knuckles Ranch in Porterville. Students have worked hard to prepare for this special event, which will provide our students with an opportunity to celebrate, make memories, and enjoy an exciting evening together in a great atmosphere. We're looking forward to a fun and successful event for all who attend. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you very much. Congratulations. Okay, superintendent's report.
Yes, good evening, Board President Cisneros, members of the board, committee, and staff that are here. Just really quick, wanted to just update on a couple of things. One is we have a resource fair that's happening tomorrow. I want to thank Ms. Mendoza, Ms. Antian, and the team that put that together for our families. So it's to be from 5 to 6 TLC. I think it's important. Kings Lake had the building put in place 2 days ago. You're right, and it was a pretty amazing thing to see. So that was super important. So, you know, we got that in place, and the staff was like, it's finally here. It's almost here. I think it's been like 3 years in the making. So they're excited about that. We did have a great partnership with the city on 2 different things. One, we had the Cal Recycle come through, and we met with that group. And it was a group to come in and see how we're doing and then make recommendations for what we need to change. So it's basically like in our at home when we have the 3 trash cans, the blue, the green, the black, right, for the different ways we separate. It's how we're doing that at our schools. So we know that we have some room to grow. We do some things on the back end where like we're using the big dumpsters, but not on the front end where they called it like we say, the end user, students being able to separate the trash. So we're going to be working on that and implementing that in the fall. So, and then we had also some of our team go and do the walk survey as well, to kind of see how things are going with the various improvements that the city has made overall. So that was great. So, you know, just thank again the city for that partnership and collaboration. We know that's getting hot. Thankfully that there was a breeze that cooled us down, but we will have a announcement going out in the Corcoran Journal, as well as we're just letting families know through Parent Square and other means, just to, you know, some precautions around the heat. And we'll take the same precautions, same thing as last year. We'll plan for graduation. If we know it's going to be hot, we'll do the shift and the time, provide the waters, et cetera, that we've done in the past. So know that those are at the forefront of our mind. The last thing I'll want to say is that 2 things. One is the board policies that we've been working with, that the board has recommended we look at, which is the use of facilities. We have the team working on it right now, and we'll be bringing you guys an update on that. The goal is to get a revised policy to you for a first read in June, and then you would give feedback, and then we'd come back in August and do the final. Okay. The other one is a cell phone policy. So we have, by law, we have to have a cell phone policy in place, but we want to do it just like you saw tonight with the math adoption team, not in isolation. So tomorrow we have students from John Muir, as well as the high school, some staff that are going to get together, and we're going to design that together. So then it's really a inclusive process. And the last one, speaking about inclusiveness, and I don't know, speak tonight themselves, but the unions. So we met with both union presidents yesterday, our second meeting. We're calling it collaboration meetings. And it was very productive, very beneficial. We created norms and we all agreed upon them. And one of the things we do know, and they express themselves, is that they do see a change in the inclusion of our staff's voice in the work that we're doing. So they're very appreciative of that. Do we have some work to do? Yes, you know, we definitely do, but we're in that way, and it's something that hadn't been done ever. So, you know, again, just going back to those board priorities, priority 1 of being inclusive, that's what we're trying to do. So with that, I yield my time.
Board of Trustees, any reports? So we'll go on to Corcoran Faculty Association. No one there?
No.
How about California School Employees Association?
No.
Good. So at this time, I will Remind everyone of the procedures of public participation during the public comment. Members of the public may address the board on any agenda item or topic within the jurisdiction. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes with a total of 20 per item. The board president may adjust time limits as needed to ensure all voices are heard. Non-English speakers using translators will be given additional time. Speaker request forms are available at the entrance and should be submitted to Ms. Gonzalez prior to the public comment. If a concern is raised about an employee, the appropriate complaint process will be shared. Complaints must be submitted in writing to the district office and will review promptly and fairly. Certain complaints, such as those involving child abuse and lawful discrimination, follow specific legal protocols. Please note that the materials provided to the board are subject to public records laws. Retaliations against complainants is prohibited. We ask that everyone remains respectful, and disrespectful behavior will not be tolerated and may result in removal from the meeting. Thank you. We do have one public comment, Ms. Valerie Duran.
Good evening, board members. My name is Valerie, and I am a parent of a child that goes to John Muir Middle School. I am here to discuss the safety of my child and what is not being done to ensure the safety of my child. As a parent, I am entrusting the administrators of John Muir to follow procedures and protocols to keep every student safe on their campus. Last year, students poured rotten milk on my son, humiliating him and having him wonder why it is happening to him. I taught my son to speak up and tell admin when something is happening, so he did just that. He stayed in school with the smell of rotten milk on him and the embarrassment all day, as he did not want to miss school. When I was contacted, I wanted to ensure it would be dealt with, but instead I was told since it was the end of the school year, there was nothing that can be done and to contact Corcoran Police Department. So I did just that, where they took an incident report and pictures of my child with the milk on him still. I advised counselors that the bullying has emotionally affected my son, who stated he wanted to end his own life. Me and my family had to rebuild his confidence and help him with his education, as a lack of support from the school on his education affected him as well. We thought we were finally on a path to success with his safety, only to find out now that we are at the end of the school year that my son has endured assault, humiliation, his life threatened, and fear of his life and his family's life. Yesterday, I had to leave my place of employment to find out what was going on, as admin at John Muir seen 2 students attempting to go up to my child, not knowing that these 2 students are the same 2 students that my son had several encounters of threat and harassment with. After hearing my child state that his life was threatened, the principal's immediate response was to place my child on independent study for his safety, while the students who threatened my child are allowed to stay on campus to continue their education. Meanwhile, my child, the victim, is robbed of his learning and any fun activities that take place the last few weeks of school. The district talks about see something, say something, safe environment, and even sends out surveys to parents wanting to know about the safety of the children. For what? This is continuous and unacceptable for admin to allow the students that create the bullying, harassment, and fear to stay on campus joyfully, while the victims have to leave to ensure their own safety as they fear for their life. These 2 students have had several encounters where they are bullying and instilling fear in other students. I know this because I have been told by my child, and I know the families. Corcoran Unified School District is in violation of the Education Code 48900 and the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, also known as IDEA. You know, I used to praise Corcoran Unified School District as I used to work here, and now I honestly resent it. My child's safety, mental health, and educational needs have gone unfazed by the admin. My son no longer feels safe, and I no longer trust John Muir, admins, or the district to keep my child safe. How do you think my child who tries so hard and is such a quiet and sweet kid feels, knowing that a decision was made for him to leave the school while the bullies get to stay? This has emotionally, mentally, and physically affected my son by allowing these kids to stay and my child being forced to leave. Corcoran Unified School District mission statement states, we are relentless in creating a positive, safe, and stimulating environment for all to improve mind, character, and body. Now tell me, when will you uphold your own mission statement? What actions will you take to ensure the safety of my child and all the children that are being relentlessly bullied? When will you stop blaming the victims and penalizing the victims and actually take action and make sure the bullies are being held accountable? Will you guys finally take action when it's your kid, your student, your family member? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Messina. If you can look into that.
Yes, we'll look into it. Thank you.
Action items, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
And motion to approve.
A second. Roll call, Sammy?
Aye.
Valerie?
Aye.
And I. Business, consider the approval of EZR routing student bus monitoring software. Mr. Rojas will provide us with a quick report.
Good evening, everyone. So what easy routing software, we would like for you guys to approve it. It's a transportation software to modernize the paper-based system, like ridership data. It'll improve our field trip process as well. Also positive, we have got some positive feedback from review from our district admin, high school and Jarmia athletic directors. Also got some good feedback from our bus drivers. They're pretty excited if we were to move forward with this software. It will be a 3-year agreement if we do decide to move forward with it. And it's basically, like I said, it's just to track in-town routes, scanning students will have a ticket, they'll scan the ticket, it'll go into the system, and then they have to scan as they exit the bus. So if we ever need to find out if the student got off their proper stop, we can go in the system. Any basically secretary will be able to go in the system and search for that student, and it'll pinpoint exactly a location where the student was got off and got on. So.
I thought we already had that software in our budget.
No, not yet. We have a GPS system with the cameras, but nothing that shows our ridership, like the student, for example, Johnny scanned Brett Harding gets off of marketing. We don't have any type of software like that. We're using like a paper laminated ticket basically, but nothing in that we can go back and look, okay, the student got on and got off of this software. So thank you.
So is this a touchless program? So as the student walks by, it just scans as long as it's in their backpacks, or do they have to physically tap?
Physically, there'll be a scanner at the entrance of the steps of the bus. So physically, they have to scan it, and then the bus drivers will have like a tablet, and it'll indicate green light with their picture and name. C route, for example. If the student by accident goes on a route that's in pretend to him, it'll flag them right there. The driver red, like this is not your route. At that point, if the student was to miss their route, the driver can make accommodations at the moment. Say, okay, you're A route, or you're in C route right now. I can take you. It still take them. It will still record them, and it'll show in the system which route he got on, whether it was his or not a route. But we can still transport them. Yeah. So it'll be logging because we have to go back and for attendance and whatnot. So yeah.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, Sammy?
Aye.
Valerie?
Aye.
And I. Resolutions, consider approval of resolution number 1422, approving and authorizing contract for outdoor shade structure. Mr. Rojas.
Yes. So this resolution will be for the TK, which they've been waiting for a long time. It's a TK playground shade structure. It comes with the CMAS agreement. Vendor is registered and has an approved agreement with the Department of General Services, DGS. To be a fair, reasonable, and competitive. So because of this designation, we are not able to purchase or use an agreement terms without a bid. So we don't have to just because of the CMAS. So this company will provide a shade structure for TK area. It'll be under the UPK grant.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
Oh, second.
Okay, roll call, Sammy?
Aye.
Valerie? And I. And consider approval for resolution 1423, authorizing multiple award schedule contract to purchase of playground equipment. Mr. Rojas again.
So basically, it's same thing, same terms, but this is for the company to provide playground equipment for the same area. So we had to do two separate ones, one equipment and one the state structure, but it'll be under the same terms.
Do I have a motion? Okay, I'll go. Second, all right, Sammy?
Aye.
Valerie? And I. Thank you, Mr. Rojas. Yes, that was it. Future agenda items?
Mr. Commissioner, can we, finish up whatever we're doing with the safety department, please? I think it's kind of unfair to have that department go into the new year without any specific guidance or direction.
Yeah, we can give an update to the board on what's going on with the safety department. Yeah.
Go ahead and close session at 6:15. Take care, everyone.